What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost, and we don't talk too much Spider-Man on this channel, but this is now going to be 2 straight days where we do. Yesterday, we had the news about the Spider-Man remastered and the details behind that. Now, we have something involving the MCU that I don't think anyone saw coming, and now the internet is ablaze after this actor is set to reprise a role that has everyone talking about a live-action Spider-Verse. Now, it could actually be a possibility at this point, so let's just get right into it. Spider-Man 3 Jolt. Jamie Foxx returning as Electro. Now, like I said, this is something that I don't think anyone saw coming. Jamie Foxx did play Electro in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which in general was not very well received. Now, I think I'm a little bit easier on The Amazing Spider-Man films, Andrew Garfield's interpretation, than a lot of people. Overall, I didn't like it. I thought he actually played a decent Spider-Man, but his Peter Parker wasn't really what I wanted to see or what I thought should be on screen. However, I think he's better than Tom Holland. Not that Tom Holland couldn't be a great Spider-Man, but I just think that the way these movies are written, the way that he is basically just creation of Iron Man, if he gets out of that shadow, I suppose he could be better. But for me, I don't like the interpretation of Spider-Man for the MCU. But let's get into this news right here. The next Spider-Man movie is getting a major jolt. Good pun. Jamie Foxx, who played classic Spidey villain Electro in the Andrew Garfield starring Amazing Spider-Man 2, is in final talks to reprise the role for the latest Spider-Man installment starring Tom Holland and being made by Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures. John Watts, the filmmaker behind Homecoming and last year's Spider-Man Far From Home, is in the director's chair for the third installment, which they've dated for 5th of November 2021. I think all of us can probably assume that that is going to get moved back, just like Marvel's entire slate already has been moved back. I would assume we'd see that one pushed as well. Otherwise, that would be 3 Marvel movies coming out in 2021, or 4. 4, because you would have Black Widow, you'd have The Eternals, you'd have The Legend of Shang-Chi or whatever, and then you would have this movie. This is definitely going to get moved. Most of the supporting cast is expected to be on the call sheet, but now this coming out there. Jamie Foxx to reprise his role as Electro. Now, why are people talking about the Spider-Verse? Well, it's pretty easy to realize that because there have been a couple clues laid out that says that Marvel may be moving towards that, which I think would be exciting for a lot of people. I'm not a big MCU guy. You guys know I'm a DC guy. I'm really kind of sick and tired of the MCU. I think that Endgame was kind of the end game for a lot of people. I think that the movies all started to feel like one another. With this move, possibly getting into a live-action Spider-Verse, I can see them drawing a lot of people who might have been tired of that back in, especially with how well Into the Spider-Verse, the animated version, did, and how well that was received. But you see here, the future and potential movie Spider-Man has is so crazy right now. MCU Spider-Man has his identity revealed to the world, which was ridiculous. Morbius has Vulture from Homecoming, so keep that in mind, that in the Morbius movie, we are going to see Vulture. We're going to see Michael Keaton play Vulture, who is firmly in the MCU, is also in Sony's kind of Venom-verse that they are building. So that's a clear crossover right there. Jamie Foxx Electro from the Amazing Spider-Man 2 will be in MCU Spider-Man 3. And of course, that's not all. We've also had other things. We had J.K. Simmons. J.K. Simmons made a cameo appearance in Spider-Man Far From Home, so the second Spider-Man film. That's clearly involving someone that is from Sam Raimi's trilogy. Now, I think that Sam Raimi's trilogy is incredibly beloved. It's kind of my favorite representation of Spider-Man on screen. Wasn't a huge fan of how it ended necessarily, but I think in general, tons of people have a lot of loves for those films, especially Spider-Man 1 and 2. Would this be something that could kind of reinvigorate the Marvel fan base if they did go for this Spider-Verse, this live-action Spider-Verse? And you can see this picture here. The idea of having Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, and Tobey Maguire will be pretty crazy. And honestly, even if it's not something that I would love or would, it's not like I have tons of passion for the character, but if they did that, I gotta admit, my interest would definitely be piqued, and I would want to go see it just to see how it was, just because of how I feel about Tobey Maguire's and how I feel about Andrew Garfield's, to be quite honest. Now, talking specifically about, Electro coming back, I thought that Electro and Jamie Foxx's performance was not very good in Amazing Spider-Man 2, to be quite honest, so I can't say that I'm like, oh, yeah, I can't wait to see Electro again, but it's more about the idea that he will be in the movie, or reported that he will be in the movie, that really opens up all these other possibilities. And like I said, I think Marvel needs to do something. They are going full identity politics right now, and they're driving a lot of people away, whereas DC, I feel like, is kind of swelling up and gathering a lot of attention, garnering a lot of attention. I feel like DC and the DCEU is ready to kind of come up and challenge Marvel. That is what I want to see as a DC fan. This would be a way to get your A-list character, Spider-Man, and really push him to the forefront, which he really should be. He shouldn't be some understudy to Iron Man. He shouldn't be a creation of Iron Man. He should be his own thing, and maybe that's what Marvel's doing. I guess time will tell. Interested to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Do you feel like these reports are true? Everyone is kind of running with it, that, you know, the sources are fairly credible and they do think that this will happen. What are your thoughts about it? Would you be interested in a live-action Spider-Verse, or are you just completely done with Marvel at this point in time? Let me know in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.